Arizona and Sonora, two states, two economies.
I think it's very good for as much trade as you can have, as many transactions as you can have.
Hermosillo, an automotive and manufacturing hub.
And we ship it to every place, in the worldwide.
A binational relationship, generations in the making.
We are connected, and we have so much history.
This is Arizona Week. Hello, and thanks for joining us for a special edition of Arizona Week. We're in the state of Sonora. This is Hermosillo, a city of nearly 1 million. A manufacturing mecca with a global footprint. Dozens of American and foreign companies producing automotive parts. It's a billion-dollar industry. Here's a rare look inside Leone Wiring System, a German company, the oldest wire harnessing company in the world. It's one of the top 5 employers in the state of Sonora, its logistical hub in Tucson. Here's Jesus Gomez, plant manager at Leone Wiring Systems in Hermosillo.
We have 3,800 employees working in 2 facilities in Hermosillo. We are making harnesses for the automobile industry, commercial vehicles, and we ship it to every place, in the worldwide.
So the harnesses are made right here in Hermosillo and then they go to other plants?
That's correct. For example, we are making harnesses for Caterpillar, and the most of these are shipping to America, to assembly, in the big machines, for the construction, for mining, for agriculture. We are making the harnesses here and shipping to America. But also we are shipping to Europe or to Asia.
This is a German company, so how did Europe find Hermosillo to do its work?
Leone found, the talent in the city, found, a lot of advantage to make the investment here. And this is why, has been a successful, investment that they place it here in Hermosillo.
There are 2 plants in Hermosillo for Leone?
That's correct. We have 2 plants. The current plants we are here is around 30,000 square meters. We have other ones which is close to 7,000 square meters. And the focus, is different. So we have customers like Polaris or Harley-Davidson, who are making harnesses. And we have the automobile business in the Tier 2, which means we are shipping to those Tier 1s that are direct suppliers for the assembly cars for Ford, Mazda, GM, Chrysler, different companies.
Is this very specialized work, or can most people learn to do this sort of thing?
Most people can learn, to do that. The most important is the attitude of the people, the responsibility, the commitment they have with the work. And the rest, our engineers, our supervisors, I do with the people to teach them how to work and how to be successful on that. But the most important is to integrate successful teams. Because if we have, a team that is integrated, it's easier, for the people to communicate, to help each other, in the daily basis to have to meet the goal that we have for production.
Jesus, tell me about this environment. It seems like all age groups are represented.
We have people with more than 50 years here in the of age, but that person has more than 30 years working in the company. So we have also young people with 18, 20 years age, which is people just, joining the company. And this is people that is learning from the people with more experience. So the combination of experienced people with young people, it's also this advantage that we have, in order to support our customers by having people like that.
These are good paying jobs here in the state of Sonora?
Leone is very competitive in terms of that, offering a competitive salary. But the benefits that we are offering to the employees are very, very good, plus productivity bonus that we have for them. So by having, people dedicated, working, making the commitments that we have every day, people is making money. So that's just something good, that we have. This is also why we have stable people working in the company. The salary base that they are making per week is around 1,200 pesos, plus the benefits and the bonus that they can make more than 2,000 pesos per week.
The trade between Arizona and Sonora is valued at more than $10 billion. It's a relationship that many say must continue to thrive. Jorge Vidal is the Secretary of the Economy for Sonora's economic development.
The main point is trying to construct a more solid relationship between Arizona and Sonora, which has been this kind of relation since a long time ago, 25, 28 years, I think, or something like that. But it changed a little bit. We're now doing more economic sense, more economic target in this kind of relationship.
Hermosillo is the state's capital, and here businesses have formed a network to stay in tune with American and Mexican politics and policies. Here's Arturo Fernandez, representing a group known as Coparmex.
In the same manner that you have unions where workers organize, this is a union for business owners so that they can organize in the same manner. Obviously, the problems that this union takes into consideration is very different from the workers' unions. Also, there's a lot of networking, and but basically promoting free enterprise and promoting businesses.
How would you describe the business climate in Sonora, specifically here around the state capital in Hermosillo?
It's growing. There's a few industries that are they have a lot of growth, which is, for example, mining, and there's manufacturing, and there's basic goods also.
Arizona and Sonora rely on each other as business partners. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
How would you explain that to the people in Arizona who are watching this? We need you, you need us. It's a partnership?
Yes. See, 30% of exports from Arizona go into Mexico. That's about between $8 and $9 billion. Also, Mexico exports towards Arizona about between $7 and $8 billion. So there's a little bit of surplus between exports and imports from Arizona towards Mexico.
It appears there's a lot of uncertainty right now with changing administrations and connections. Does that ever filter down to the local level?
Yes, uncertainty is not very good for business climate. For example, in our case, we had a project to build a plant to manufacture wheat milling, so we sell flour, and the purpose was to attend the U.S. market, and we had to put a hold on that because we needed to know first what was going to happen. There's a lot of variables that were undefined yet, so I mean, the project is still going on, but we had to put a hold on that for a little while. But something like that happens very often with other businesses. So uncertainty, can put off some business decisions.
President Trump creates some sort of tax on goods that cross the border north and south.
Yes.
Could that impact business here? Between
Mexico and the U.S., there's about $500 billion being exchanged between what's exported and what's imported. It's 200 and in excess of 200 billions being exported and in excess of 200 billion being imported. That is going to affect both sides, because if there's an increase on the tariffs from imports, there's very certainly going to be a reaction in the same direction, in the same manner. I think it's very good for as much trade as you can have, as many transactions as you can have. In every transaction, both parties win, because that's when value created is realized.
Can you describe what the economy is like here?
Well, Sonora could be a pretty important economy. It's a 30 billion economy. There's a lot of manufacturing plants. There's Secretaría de Economía, which would be the Economy Bureau, is trying to promote U.S. businesses to come and grow and do businesses here in Sonora. So they're trying to give them incentives, fiscal or otherwise, so that it's much easier for them to settle here in Sonora.
Supporting Sonora's economy is tourism, which celebrates the region's rich history and culture. Here's Eduardo Lemonmeyer from Hermosillo. He represents the Office of Tourism.
It's a very friendly ciudad. It's the capital of Sonora. And well, we think we have a lot of things to show to all the people from Arizona, the people in Tucson, and we are invite everybody to come to Hermosillo and enjoy all the things we have.
What sorts of things do you have here for people who've never been here?
Well, especially we are the capital, like I told you, But we have the beach, and 1 hour from Hermosillo, we have a really nice beach. We have a lot of things, the fishing, and we have a big dunes, like sands that you can go surf in the sands. It's things like you can do only in Hermosillo.
Some Americans are very worried about coming to Mexico. They worry for their safety. Should they be concerned?
Now, Hermosillo is very safely, friendly, and we don't have that kind of problems.
Regardless of the politics, this community doesn't know that.
We don't care about that. We know that we are very friendly people from Arizona and Sonora.
The media are an important element to this discussion. For more on this, I'm joined by Claudia Orduño from Frontera Norte, which is a magazine here in Hermosillo. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your publication. You're the editor-in-chief.
I'm the editor-in-chief of Frontera Norte. It's a magazine that talks about what happens in Sonora and Arizona. And you know, the name, it's about all the border in Mexico, the north border of Mexico. So eventually we want to talk about the issues that matters in all the border in Mexico, but right now we are focusing Sonora, Arizona. That's where our magazine is. And we talk about politics, economics, and business, and a little bit of lifestyle also. Because we are working very hard to show what people are doing here in Sonora, in business, in politics. We are working very hard to make our borders stronger. And I think that people in the United States, people in Arizona, people that are Mexicans that are there for a long, long time should know that we are working here to be stronger. And we work every day very hard. And this is what my magazine talks about. Frontera Norte is it's not social thing, it's not show business, it's just that thing, politics and business, economics, what makes our border strong, and what are people doing to make it stronger, and I think Frontera Norte is going to help a little bit to understand what we do in Sonora and how important to us is to have Arizona as neighbor.
You've heard about the business and the politics of Hermosillo, but now for something that makes the city famous, it's food.
The coyotas is a very special dessert from Hermosillo. Doña Maria started this product in 1892 approximately. Back in the day, it used to be like just a quesadilla, but now they put 2 flour tortillas. And put that sweet candy in the middle. One of the things that you have to know, this is a very unique oven. They still do it in the old style. This is the only place they still keep doing it in that fashion style.
The governments of Arizona and Sonora have partnered in an agreement to strengthen the economies of both countries, a commitment to work together across the international border. And our special coverage continues. On next week's program, we travel to the city of Guaymas.
We're right across Baja, so from the people are not familiar where Guaymas is. There's a very nice, vibrant community of Americans and Canadians that enjoy themselves with the beautiful weather and the beautiful scenery, as you can appreciate.
The total of cargo that we have in a year in Guaymas are between $4 and $6 billion.
It's kind of interesting that a lot of people, when we say we're going to Mexico, think we're crazy, but I feel safer here than I do in a lot of parts of Tucson.
From Hermosillo, Sonora, for all of us at Arizona Public Media, I'm Lorraine Rivera. Thanks for joining us. One of the fastest growing ports in the world.
The port has been expanding. A lot of the mining companies use the port of Guaymas because of the closeness to the U.S.
Catering to Americans south of the border.
I feel safer here than I do in a lot of parts of Tucson.
A growing economy.
Or between $4 and $6 billion.
Arizona and Sonora. From San Carlos, Guaymas, this is Arizona Week. Hello and thanks for joining us for a special edition of Arizona Week. This is San Carlos, Guaymas, along the Sea of Cortez. An economic hub for the state of Sonora, Arizona's neighbor to the south offers everything from a workforce to a vacation spot. We begin our coverage though with a visit to the port of Guaymas. Anchored in the Sea of Cortez, this is the port of Guaymas. Called the Port of Ports, Spanish conquistadors named it so in 1535. These land masses make it a natural port of entry. Every month, about 19 vessels sail in. 6 docks. The depth here is about 47 feet, deep enough to bring in a ship that can hold up to 125,000 tons of cargo. This one is from Sinaloa. On board, Pemex fuel for northwestern Mexico.
The total of cargo that we have in a year in Guaymas is about between $4 and $6 billion.
A growing seaport in this region.
Guaymas is the only port in Sonora that can work with this amount of cargo.
Does this port give California competition?
The city of Tucson is nearer to Guaymas than Los Angeles and Long Beach.
The location puts Arizona and Mexico in position to give international business an option to bring cargo into North America or for the U.S. to ship it out. Edmundo, this is a perfect example of a common sight that you see here at this port.
This ship is almost ready to go to Japan with copper concentrate. It's about 11,000 tons.
The cargo on this ship, one example. 11,000 tons of copper concentrate mined in Arizona en route to Japan. Minerals like this one make up 75% of the cargo exported. Hundreds of workers employed by the federal administration and others by contractors. From Guaymas to Japan, the copper concentrate will spend about 22 days at sea. Copper concentrate in its purest form on its way to smelters in Asia. From Arizona, it travels to Guaymas by truck and train. This concrete platform known as a quay, here industry is at its best. 72 silos store 68,000 tons of Sonoran wheat, making up about 15% of other cargo this port processes, the bulk of wheat bound for Australia. More than international trade, this port also serves Sonora. On this day, a tug drags piping for a generating station on the other side of the island. 10 feet in diameter. Eventually, it'll dip deep into the ocean. When it's up and running, the plant will supply electricity to all of Sonora. Years ago, the depth of this port was about 42 feet, then dredging to 47 feet. The goal, to hit 52 feet in 2018. The seaport of Guaymas quickly becoming an option for cargo in and out of North America. For many here in San Carlos, Guaymas, catering to Americans is a business, an economy this community relies on. Philippe, you're a Frenchman. How did you find your way to Guaymas?
Traveling. I did traveling all my life, and one day I was in San Carlos, and I said one day I would come back to have a business. 2010, I did find the opportunity to get a business and came back, and perfect life.
What do you like about this as a businessman? I mean, this is a tourist attraction, but it also has a real community from Sonora.
San Carlos is not so much tourist attraction. San Carlos is still a community to live. We're not living like Cancun or La Paz. We're still living together here. So I like that kind of life. I mean, sweet and people's coming back. And we have, small life and very sweet and pretty life.
What is the business climate like for you as a small business owner?
We have two kind of customers. For winter, we have the North American peoples coming and spend 1, 2, 3 weeks. Sometimes they are resident here for 6 months, and they like to be here, but they're leaving in April when hot's coming, the hot weather is coming back. And after Easter week, we start with the Mexican tourism. That's a little bit different because we're working 3-4 days a week because it's a weekend. And they're coming on the beach and they love that place. But it's two kind of customers, very different.
There seems to be a lot of conversation about uncertainties traveling between the U.S. and Mexico. Do you hear any of that? Do you process any of that as a French business owner in Mexico?
The relation between American and Mexican are so strong, I'm not sure it would change anything. And because Mexico and northern Mexico exist for states, and many Americans like to come here, I'm not sure it would change anything. The relations are too strong.
For decades, Americans, even Canadians, have made this their home or their home away from home, creating an American environment in Mexico.
Well, it's kind of interesting that a lot of people, when we say we're going to Mexico, think we're crazy, but I feel safer here than I do in a lot of parts of Tucson.
How long have you been here?
We've been coming, well, the first trip to Mexico was in 1963 when my mom took us down to Vallarta. We've been coming to Mexico for over 45 years. Ready? 2, 3. Another tough day.
Mike Lead, his buddy Norm, and their families have had vacation homes in San Carlos, Sonora for the last 10 years.
Any fears about coming down here?
None.
Ever?
None. I don't drive at night, you know, and we don't go crazy places, but, you know, it's very safe here.
And they've soaked in every precious minute in an area known as Valle del Fin.
Partially retired, what is life like down here for Mike Lead on an average day in San Carlos?
It doesn't get much better because we go out on the boat and sail around.
Door to door, they say it's a 5.5-hour drive from the old pueblo to the beach. This solitude, miles away from the politics, the economy of the border states. Peace, tranquility, and friendship. Americans, Canadians, and Mexicans. Murray Hager and his wife Luz Maria live in Canada. Luz Maria is from Sonora and didn't have to convince her husband to buy a condo in San Carlos.
No, para nada. No, para nada.
The weather did that for them.
It's very cold there, you know, December, January, we can be minus 40 and wind, so it varies though. Sometimes the warm air will come in from the mountains and warm our country up, and so it goes to plus and then it'll drop back down.
January through April, this is how they spend their days. And so do others. Dozens of license plates from all over the U.S. dot the condo parking lot.
Well, it's very quiet and the weather is beautiful. Like, it's very consistent. Sun is always shining mostly. Yeah, it's safe here. We feel safe. We believe it's one of the safest places in Mexico to come. And there's a lot of English-speaking people here too. I think that any country has its violence. I don't think it matters what country you go to. There's always going to be people that are dishonest or robbers or whatever. So it's no different than Canada, here especially. So really, we don't feel unsafe. It's good.
Making themselves at home on a beach in Mexico.
This resort city is unlike any coastline you'll find in Mexico, and the hope is to keep it that way. Juan Cordero is the Economic Development Director and oversees tourism in San Carlos, Guaymas.
We're in San Carlos and we're at the Algodones Bay. Over there you see the marina, and there's a development, a housing development there, that you have your boat right outside your house with the docks and whatnot. Over there you can see the Baja on a good clear day. It's only 60 miles away from here.
Baja California?
Baja California, yes. We're right across Baja, so for the people who are not familiar where Guaymas is, if you see the Mexico map, the Baja is very, very particular shape, right? So you draw right there in the middle of the Baja and then draw a straight line into mainland Mexico, and right on the coast, that's where Guaymas is.
Tell me about the people of this community, because we don't just have Mexicans, we don't have Americans, we have a lot more.
Yes, we have a lot of Canadian and American residents, a lot of the retirees that come on the winter months to San Carlos to spend their the colder months. You know, they're from Montana or from Nebraska or whatnot, and they come here and they spend the time. There's a very nice, vibrant community of Americans and Canadians that enjoy themselves with the beautiful weather and the beautiful scenery, as you can appreciate where we're standing right now.
Why isn't this area more popular? I mean, this is plenty popular, but this is not really a party city. I mean, it's a community.
It's not. It's more of a residential area. So what we call is the residential tourism. So people that come here is because they want to live and they want to spend a longer time, not necessarily the weekend and partying and like that. On the summer months, and in some parts of the winter months, we do have the wedding season, and that's very popular with Mexican nationals that come and get married here in Guaymas because of, especially with the scenery and the events they hold here. But it's not a resort. It's not a resort time. It's not a go crazy on spring break. And I think we like to keep it that way.
You're a graduate of the University of Arizona,
yes,
so you understand the economies in Arizona and in Sonora.
Yes.
Do the two of them sort of complement each other?
Absolutely. I'm all for the mega region. There's a lot of family and business ties between Guaymas and Tucson in particular, but also between Sonora and Arizona. So a lot of us have either second homes, or people in Arizona have second homes in San Carlos. We come and drive back and forth all the way, all the time without any problems. And really it's one mega region that we should really complement each other and promote a little better. And remember, we're neighbors, and we're very good neighbors. Our economy in Sonora goes to Tucson for the shopping and whatnot, and then you guys come back to the beach. We're the closest beach where that's other place in the north, which I won't mention, right, with all the resorts. But I think Guaymas, for a long time, has been the preferred choice for this type of tourism.
Here's another look at the sights and sounds from the Sea of Cortez.
It began at Leone Wiring Systems, a manufacturing plant in Hermosillo, one of the largest employers in Sonora.
A lot of this is in combination with the efforts that we are making with our partners in the States, working together to make, a successful company.
Arizona and Sonora described by both governments as a mega region, sister states, two economies, partners.
Because the low wages and the skills and all the distance between the two states.
Communities, business climates that rely on each other.
I think it's very good for as much trade as you can have, as many transactions as you can have. In every transaction, both parties win.
2 hours south of Hermosillo on Federal Highway 15, the port city of Guaymas. A $4 to $6 billion industry at this port alone. The port depth here currently 47.5 feet. To the west in Long Beach, it's 76 feet. To the east in Texas, the Galveston port about 45 feet. The deeper the port, the larger the ship and its capacity to transport more cargo. Neighboring states, the trade between Arizona and Sonora is valued at more than $10 billion.
We continue to work to strengthen relations with Mexico, which is critical to our local economy. Our Mexican partners appreciate these friendly, respectful overtures, and like us, continue to be interested in working together on economic development. As anyone who's run a successful business knows, good partners don't alienate their suppliers or their customers.
The largest exports? Produce, an estimated $2.8 billion. Automotives, in the last few years, exports to Mexico have nearly quadrupled. At Arizona ports of entry, an estimated 320,000 trucks cross every year.
And the strategic location of the Arizona-Sonora border offers ample access to major global markets as well. The corridor that connects Mexico City with Arizona is effective, efficient, and a viable alternative for shipments from central Mexico to our west coast and Canada.
Neighboring states, Arizona's population is about 6.7 million, the gross domestic product more than $300 billion, whereas Sonora is about 30 billion, and its population approximately 2.6 million. Known as the megaregion, a relationship that will continue to grow. That concludes our special coverage from Arizona's neighbor to the south. For all of us at Arizona Public Media, from the Sea of Cortez, I'm Lorraine Rivera. Thanks for joining us.